Hey guys, it's Kayanne Raber here, and I want to share my story with you today um, about my own health and weight loss journey and why I am so passionate about helping other women lose weight and get healthy. Because, yeah, that is my passion. That is something that I'm really, really passionate about, really, really into. And the reason is because I've been there. Um, I come from a family of 8 girls, which might shock you, but I have a lot of sisters, and we've all, pretty much all of us, have struggled somewhat with our weight, and I'm the youngest of all the girls. So I haven't had the babies yet, gained the baby weight. I'm not, some of my sisters are past 40 and starting to put on that over 40 pounds, and I haven't been there, but I've seen their struggle and I know what it's like to have the slow metabolism that you constantly have to fight with to be able to maintain your weight if you don't want to be 200 pounds. So I can totally sympathize from that point of view. No, I have never been 200 pounds, but I have a constant battle with my weight. I don't really look at it as a battle anymore because of my mindset change. I've changed the way I think. So it's really not a battle. It's more of a fun journey. But I totally understand the challenge. I understand for those that are starting out, they don't have anywhere to turn. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. And that's why I'm here, because I want to help those kind of women. Women like my sisters that just seem to put on pounds without wanting to. And so about 3 years ago, well, no, I would say about 5 years ago, I was at a point where I was just eating a lot. Like, I wasn't depressed, I just loved food. I grew up in a household, and this is probably part of the weight problem. I grew up in a household where food was very, very loved. Mealtime was a time of family time. We all sat down, we laughed, we talked, we shared stories about the day, and mealtime it was a special time at our house. Snack time, we loved food. We just loved food. And, my parents were poor, so we didn't eat that rich, but we grew up with the mindset to eat a lot. And so, I was 17 and I was eating a lot. And by a lot, I mean I would go out with my friends or at work. And this sounds kind of crazy, but I would pile my plate high with food, like rounded high, eat it all, and when they couldn't finish off their plates, I'd finish them off for them. Like, I was eating a lot of food. And I just didn't really care. I was 17. I was like, whatever. I didn't know that it would make me gain weight for some reason. I was just like, oh, whatever, right? I just wanted to eat. And I don't know, one day I weighed on the scale. I think I was almost 160 pounds. That might not sound like a lot to a lot of you, but it was a bit of a shock to me. And I started to think, maybe I shouldn't be eating so much, but I really did nothing about it for another 2 years. And then I decided, you know what? I want to get healthy. I started learning about getting healthy, being educated on what it could do for the body, what the bad foods did for the body, how disease is caused by what you eat, largely. It doesn't just happen. It's not entirely in your control, but it is a lot by what you eat. And I started learning about these things, and I started wanting to get healthy and wanting to lose weight. Just to look good. I just had fat in places I didn't want to have fat. And I heard my sisters talk a lot about their weight, and they were always kind of depressed about it, but they never knew what to do about it. And I didn't either. I mean, it wasn't something that our parents taught us. They were both kind of overweight just because we all loved food a lot. And so I started to make small changes. It was nothing drastic, and that's what I love about my story about weight loss. It doesn't have to be drastic. In fact, the drastic stuff often doesn't work well, and for sure often doesn't work long term. So I started, like, I would used to eat a bowl of oatmeal for breakfast, which is pretty healthy. The reason we had that at home was because my parents were poor and that was something that they could afford was oatmeal. So we would have a bowl of oatmeal for breakfast and I would load on the brown sugar because that's just what we did and we didn't even think about it. So, a few teaspoons of brown sugar and I'd have my bowl of oatmeal. So when I started to make my health changes, I moved away from home, I started to make health changes, I started to lessen up on the brown sugar. And then eventually I switched to coconut sugar, which is quite a bit lower glycemic index. And then I switched to sweetening my oatmeal with mashed banana and having blueberries on top and cinnamon to give it flavor. Well, that's quite a drastic difference from loading your oatmeal with several teaspoons of sugar to sweetening it only with mashed banana. But you know what? That change happened over 2.5 years of time. And that's what I want to tell you guys is that weight loss is not an instant thing. It's not something that happens overnight. You don't have to go on a 7-day juice fast and drop 10 pounds and then do it again in a month to drop 10 more. You can do that, that's fine, but chances are your body's going to just crave food more and you're going to put it all back on. So that's what I'm talking about. When I would used to eat all the bread I wanted, all the white bread I wanted, all the toast I wanted. That was actually a staple. I love toast, I still do. But now I started slowly cutting back, and now 3 years later, I'm to the point where I only eat toast or bread very occasionally. If I do eat bread, it's usually sourdough bread or else whole grain. I almost never eat white bread, and even those kind of breads, maybe once, twice, maybe 3 times a week. But that didn't happen overnight. You know what? I went from eating probably 3 to 4 pieces of bread or buns per day and to now having not even that much per week. But that didn't happen overnight. That happened over a few years' time as my mindset adjusted, as I began to see it as a positive thing and I conditioned my body and my mind to accept these changes. It happened over time. And you know what? Now I still have to watch my weight, but I don't have the fight that I used to have, not at all, because it's become a lifestyle change for me. And just there, there's a lot of stuff like that. A lot of stuff I used to eat, syrups with unlimited amounts of sugar, on my white flour pancakes. I never thought twice about it, and all that stuff was making me gain weight and not be healthy. I was tired, I was fatigued. But all these changes have happened over time. None of them were dropped overnight. Even now, I don't stay completely off sugar. No way. I believe in living a normal life. I go out to parties sometimes. I'll have an occasional drink. I'll have a chocolate or piece of pizza or whatever, right? Like I live a normal life, but on my everyday daily life, I really have adjusted myself to the point where I just simply eat healthier. It's a habit. It's a change I've made. It hasn't been super hard because when you make changes a little bit at a time like that, it's not that hard. It's not that difficult. And so that's why I want to tell you, it's not that hard. It's not that bad. And even if it's hard now, it will get easier. So skip the drastic diet. Be done with that. If you have a supplement you like to take, I'm not going to judge you for that. That's great. But skip that stuff and make the little changes. And I'm here to help. You know what? That's what I'm passionate about. I'm in the process of setting up some programs to help women with that, because to me, that is the most effective, possibly the only effective way to truly long-term permanent weight loss, is to change your lifestyle little bit by little bit. So that's kind of my story, guys. Just I'm much better than I used to be, but it hasn't been an overnight thing at all. And you can do this too, but it won't be an overnight thing for you either. So yeah, that's my story, guys. Thanks for listening. You're free to follow me on Facebook. I'll post the link in the comments below. See you in the next video.